It's Helix Sports time, and I've got a good one cooking for you. So take a seat and listen close as I tell you why the NFL has the best playoffs. Once upon a time, the NFL, rather Al Davis, flirted with the idea of having a 3-game series for the Super Bowl. Could you imagine? It's a terrible idea, and it obviously never happened. So what we have are single-game eliminations. The pros and cons are simple. Con, it's fewer games. Pro, literally everything else. Think about it like this. In baseball, basketball, and hockey, you get a few Game 7s every year, but in the NFL, every game is a Game 7. Losing teams just can't lick their wounds and come out the next day looking for redemption. You're gonna have to wait a whole year, buddy. In football, if a team lays an egg or a kicker just has a bad day, that could be the end of your season, even if you were a great team, the best team. If you sucked, you're done. That kind of heightened desperation is an NFL exclusive. And for better or worse, and I say better, the best team doesn't always win. Yeah, okay, they win a lot. There's a dynasty every decade for a reason. But you also get some great Cinderella stories. 05 Steelers, 07 and 2011 Giants, 2020 Bucks. Dang, Brady gets the dynasty and Cinderella story treatment here? Your move, Pat. When it's do or die, every play matters. Every throw, timeout, penalty, they all matter. And no other playoff format exemplifies that more than the NFL playoffs. As a fan, it creates the sense that you really can't miss a game. They're all that important. And you get to avoid lame duck games when a team is up 3-0 or 3-1 in a series. And I know teams have come back in those situations, but it's exceptionally rare and you're often left with filler games. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of the 7th playoff team, and what the hell is Super Wildcard Weekend? Oh, is this supposed to be why the NFL playoffs are the best? Oh yeah, right. The 7th team diminishes the exclusivity of the NFL playoffs, but it's still a great balance of letting the good teams in and keeping the crappy ones out. I know that not every team is great and some real stinkers sneak their way in from time to time, but those are fairly rare, and as we just discussed, those suckers have won Super Bowls before. Let's be honest, it sucks when a losing team makes the playoffs. It just feels like an easy pass to the next round for whichever lucky team gets to play them. But the NFL playoffs almost never have losing teams. Man, Tom Brady strikes again. You're actually far more likely to have a winning record and miss the playoffs. Okay, this is getting ridiculous. 2 teams this year fell short with winning records. Seattle even won 10 games and missed out. Now, credit where it's due, the MLB has also got this right. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 teams? Non-super wildcard game? Yeah, NFL playoffs are the best, I got it. Fewer teams mean better teams, which for the most part mean better games. I know someone's gonna watch this and say, actually, the long break sucks. I love the constant action of a long series. Look, I think those sports are great, and I also appreciate a good series, but I also appreciate the breathing room the NFL playoffs provide. They give us a real opportunity to digest the previous round while building anticipation for the next one. Here are my thoughts about this. 1, NFL fans are already accustomed to having a week between games. That consistent pacing is a plus. 2, this helps keep the momentum of the playoffs without having them feel like a marathon. They're quick, but not too quick. And 3, there's no weekday games, which suck. Every weekday game either starts too early on the West or ends too early on the East. Someone loses. On top of all that, the Super Bowl gets 2 weeks of prep. Some intern must have earned a promotion with the idea of putting the Super Bowl after the Pro Bowl. The anticipation gets more time to build, players get more rest, coaches get more time to scheme. Leading up to the game, it really feels like you're going to get the best out of the 2 teams, even if that doesn't always happen. Geez, this pro-Brady agenda is getting out of hand. Now you've got games in domes and in warm sunny weather, and that's not bad, but come on. What's more fun than turning on a playoff game and seeing blizzard-like conditions in Buffalo, Pittsburgh, or Green Bay? All of a sudden, everything is more difficult. It's harder to see, each throw or kick becomes a risk, everyone's only running at 80% speed, everything is tougher and grittier, which is how football should be. Whoa, perfect, not that tough. Weather in football is like tragic news and Nick Castellanos. It could be a huge competitive advantage. Could you imagine a Southern Florida team trying to play in sub-zero conditions? Good luck. Sure, baseball has its fair share of run-ins with Mother Nature, but they often just make the game unplayable. In football, however, weather is often the greatest factor of home field advantage. Snow and rain can flip the advantage from a pass-heavy team to a physical run-first offense. And that doesn't even consider that the NFL playoffs take place in the middle of winter. Ah yes, the golden standard for championship games. Honestly, if it weren't for President's Day and I guess Valentine's Day, I bet the Super Bowl would have already been a national holiday by now. Gosh, if only a certain super weekend could have prevented the big game from clashing with the other holidays. Anyway, the pros of the NFL championship game are a culmination of all my previous points into one. Well, except for the football weather, for the most part. I'm not going to go into terrible detail about what makes the Super Bowl great, as I think it's fairly obvious, but what I will say is that the Super Bowl is one winner-take-all game between 2 great teams that are maximally healthy and prepared. The Super Bowl is the biggest event in American sports because the other leagues simply can't replicate it. The single game elimination format is doing some heavy lifting here. I mean, any non-7 game championship series doesn't even come close, and the ones that are still take a week to get there and won't ever match football's popularity. I'm not sure if you picked up on this, but I've got some ideas as to why the NFL playoffs aren't that great. So if you're interested in hearing the opposite side, let me know, and make sure to subscribe.